One of the ways I began rebuilding confidence was by returning to some intellectually engaging work. Work. Therapy allowed me to finally feel okay, be in control of my emotions, be in control of my inner self, and it also reminded me that capability really does not disappear during difficult times. So I had to re-immerse myself, start to rebuild things, because in my head, of course, there's a time that this break was going to end. So how was I going to transition from break into professional life? So I had to get back to work somehow. Uh, if you're new here, my name is Lydia. On this channel, we talk about navigating life intentionally, because we know some of us are balancing multiple roles, multiple expectations, multiple transitions, and we want to move through all of it thoughtfully. We want to thrive. So this space is for people who want to grow with awareness, people who want to build lives that reflects who they are becoming, not just who they used to be. We're moving from existing. We are thriving. Welcome. Well, after a period of some internal adjustment therapy, I began asking myself, what would it look like to start moving forward again? Not perfectly, but absolutely intentionally. At this point, my law degree was in the back burner. I had a master's degree in international development management, and I had another master's degree in project management. So I was ready. I had experience with international development, but I didn't have per se any experience with project management. But I had just come straight fresh from school. So yeah, I considered myself a learner at that moment, like someone who needed to start afresh. Now I began working in roles connected to investment, economic development. So I went into Kenya Invest. If you know Kenya Invest, you're from Kenya, the Kenya Investment Authority. It's a government institution. That experience became a very important step in rebuilding my confidence. First of all, it gave me an opportunity to practice, to continue in my international development, but also now immerse myself in actual project management, because we were involved in the COMESA, we call it COMESA Regional Integration Implementation Program. Oh, I still remember it. Damn. Yeah, so COMESA is a common market for East and Southern Africa that covers about 19 countries. And so that was a really big project, and we were doing it multi-institutions and multi-countries. So in Kenya alone, there were about 6 or 7 institutions that were involved. The Kenya Investment Authority, there was KRA, there was EPZ. Like, I can't remember all of them, but I know we were about 6 or 7. And then you add that times, multiply that with all the number of institutions and countries that were also involved in this regional integration implementation. So we were looking into trade between our countries, relations, and many other things that go into just having a sense of unity. So looking at our trade, what do you call them, policies, tax policies, to make sure that at least we were aligned and that we were not overtaxing each other and limiting trade. So that was mainly part of it. And then also relations between our countries. How were we building friendships? How were we working together on some things that affected our constituents, for lack of a better term, and and things that also were affecting us on the international scene. So there was quite a lot going on there, and being immersed in that work, like, just give me a sense of purpose, give me a sense of, oh man, you didn't lose everything, you didn't lose your your ability to perform. And one thing I began to understand very well was that identity evolves through experience, but really, evolution does not erase what already exists. Your skills remain, your capacity remains, your curiosity remains. Sometimes I simply just need new context. And for me, for real, this time I was not trying to prove anything, right? I was paying attention. I was learning. I was observing what felt aligned and what did not. So I was more aware of what are my triggers, what are the things that I will accept and the things I will not accept. I started, in fact, I believe very much that it was so helpful because now the context coming from America and working in a government institution brought to me the awareness of how even customer service is very different in both scenarios. And I tried to bring, my new experiences from America into that scenario so that we were doing a little better with customer service. Now, also clearly was the fact that once you begin understanding yourself more clearly, you also begin making decisions differently. You begin noticing where you grow, where you contribute, where you feel engaged. Wow. That was a very strong lightning thunder plus. Wow. Anyway. Yeah, I was self-awareness does something to you, man. It completely changes how you operate in the world. And once you know better, there really is no way you cannot do better, And excuse me, I also realized that it's okay to know that careers are not always linear. If you had asked me, I might not have pictured myself in that sense. And I even now appreciated the fact that I had gone back to school and done project management, because if I didn't, managing this work might not have been the same as if I hadn't. I now knew coordination. I knew how to, put different pieces together to come to one thing. Different people doing different things for one purpose, And I could tell, okay, if we were doing trade negotiations, oh, these people have not given me this feedback. These people have not, we need to call these people for negotiations. We need to do, the whole project management setup became so real for me in this sense, And I will repeat that careers are not always linear. Sometimes they expand through exploration. Sometimes they evolve through unexpected opportunities. And sometimes they reconnect us with part of ourselves we thought we had lost, I really thought I needed a lot of reintroduction into my professional life. Like, how was I going to engage with people? I was just right on point. I still knew how to write emails. My English was still proper British English. I still could function. I don't even know why I thought it was going to be such a different thing. That experience also helped me so much to begin rebuilding a sense of direction. Like, okay, this is what I'm doing now. And it almost became like I was intentional about what then can lead from this. It was not that everything was very clear, but because movement had started again, and I could now start sensing, from after this project, these are the directions I can move. I can move into international trade proper, or I can move into, just go back project. Like, my options now started opening up. Now, this period definitely showed me that sometimes clarity does not come before movement. You might actually need to move and then clarity, Sometimes that movement is what creates your clarity. And man, I have no other words but to say I was pleasantly surprised. This period became part of the foundation of how I would approach future transitions with more awareness, more patience, and more intention, because I now could sense what was like different, how there are no words. Sometimes you just have to go through it to see what someone is talking about, Just how you can't explain motherhood, you can't explain giving birth. That's it. this was definitely not the final destination, because from Can Invest, I went into EPZS, or the Export Processing Zones Authority, also another government institution, just immersed directly now into international trade and helping investors set up in Kenya, or even Kenyans themselves set up companies that would then be exporting Kenyan-made goods, and sometimes services. Very rarely, but sometimes services. We were in charge of creating those zones. I was mainly focused on the legal side of things, but it was still like a very rewarding experience to just carry from international development and project management and international trade straight into international trade, and boy was I thriving. That is my best description of it. I believe this is a very, very important step forward. It was an eye-opener for me. And very weirdly, I also realized that sometimes forward is not enough. I know. Anyway, if you've ever had to rebuild your confidence after a major change, please know that progress can begin with small steps. Movement creates information, and information creates direction. Okay? I'm very, very excited that, this season's over. I have already come back, felt failure, learned about mental health, gone through mental health support, and then gone back into my career. So season 6 was like the rebuilding stage, getting back my confidence, rebuilding a few things, my identity, and learning self-awareness. And there's no going back from there. Now the next season is coming, and it's all about reinvention, like using all the tools and all the experiences that I gained from the 3 years in Kenya that I took a hiatus, if you want to call it that way. A reset, whatever you want to call it, into America with those tools, and living an actually very different life from the one I lived before. And yeah, I'm really, really happy and excited to take you through the journey again. And it's the journey that now, where we see how I do actually apply all the things that I had learned, and all the tools and all the frameworks, even the ones that I built myself, to support myself and to support other people around me. So I hope to see you then. Now remember, thriving is a goal. And if this video resonated, please subscribe, share with someone, and give me a thumbs up. Hit that like button, okay? I will see you tomorrow in season 7.